Islam accused God of one of the most greatest religious deceptions ever. Why would such a religion that prides itself on the view of God proclaim that God starts false religions? Welcome to a special edition of Jesus or Muhammad, where today we will examine what Islam really teaches about Allah and Jesus. We will take a look at the teachings of Islam and determine if the Allah of Islam has helped make Christianity the world's most dominant religion. With us today we have David Wood, who will take us through some facts about the Quran and some facts about history to determine if and how Islam has deceived billions of people through its rejection of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. David, welcome to the show. Why don't you give us a brief introduction on the so-called deception of what Islam teaches about God and the importance about discussing such an issue?
All right, thank you, Summer. And yes, the issue before us is mainly that Muslims claim that Christians have a distorted or perverted view of God, that we disrespect God by what we say about Jesus, things of that nature. Yet when we look a little bit deeper, we find that Islam actually insults and blasphemes God and insults Jesus as well through its teachings. Now, what we're going to go over right now, we're going over facts. We're going to go, I'm only going to appeal to two things. One, facts about what the Quran teaches, and two, facts about history. We're going to see, based on just the facts, not my interpretations, not my opinions, but on facts about what the Quran teaches and facts about history, that Islam is hopelessly trapped in errors and contradictions, and there's really no way out. So let's examine these facts, and if you disagree with anything I'm saying, please call in and show me where I've made an error. So fact number one, I'm going to list 10 facts here. Fact number one, according to the Quran, Jesus was a messenger of God and a prophet of Islam. Islam teaches Jesus was a prophet and messenger of Islam. No, shouldn't be any disputes there. Let me read to you a couple of passages. In Surah 19, verses 23 through 26, we read, and the throes of childbirth compelled Mary to betake herself to the trunk of a palm tree. She said, "Oh, would that I had died before this and had been a thing quite forgotten." Then the child, Jesus, called out to her from beneath her, "Grieve not, surely your Lord has made a stream to flow beneath you, and shake towards you the trunk of the palm tree, it will drop on you fresh ripe dates. So eat and drink and refresh the eye." Just a few verses later, verses 30 through 33, Jesus says, "Surely I am a servant of Allah. He has given me the book and made me a prophet. And he has made me blessed wherever I may be, and he has enjoined on me prayer and porate so long as I live, and dutiful to my mother, and he has not made me insolent, unblessed. And peace on me on the day I was born, and on the day I die, and on the day I am raised to life." So Jesus here, and in many other passages, if you'd like to look them up, you can look up Surah 42:13, you can look up Surah 43:59, and the verses that follow. And you'll see over and over again the Quran claims that Jesus was a prophet of Islam. Shouldn't be any disputes here. That's a simple fact. Fact number two. According to Islam, Jesus won a number of followers who were Muslims. Jesus didn't just preach and no one listened to him. Jesus preached and people believed his message and became Muslims. This is a simple fact about what Islam teaches. Let me show you that I'm correct here. In Surah 3:52 we read, when Jesus found unbelief on the part of the Jews, he said, "Who will be my helpers to the work of Allah?" The disciples said, "We are Allah's helpers. We believe in Allah, and do thou bear witness that we are Muslims." Here, Jesus' followers are saying, "We're Muslims." Surah 5, verse 111. "And behold, I inspired the disciples of Jesus to have faith in me and my messenger. They said, 'We have faith, and do thou bear witness that we bow to Allah as Muslims.'" So Jesus didn't just preach, and he wasn't completely ignored by the people around him. He won followers in the first century who were Muslims, considered themselves Muslims, acted like Muslims, believed as Muslims, practiced as Muslims. Shouldn't be any dispute here. Fact number three. In the Quran, Allah promises Jesus that his followers would be superior to unbelievers until the day of resurrection. Notice what this says. It doesn't say Jesus is going to win followers and they're immediately going to be corrupted by the Apostle Paul or something like that. It said these followers are going to be victorious and superior to the day of resurrection. Read Surah 3:55. Behold, Allah said, O Jesus, I will take thee and raise thee to myself and clear thee of the falsehoods of those who blaspheme. I will make those who follow thee superior to those who reject faith to the day of resurrection. Then shall ye all return unto me, and I will judge between you of the matters wherein ye dispute. So, Jesus' followers, the people who are around him claiming that they are Muslims, would, according to Allah's promise, be victorious and superior to those who reject Jesus until the day of resurrection. Fact number 4, this will be a historical fact. If there were any first century Jews who converted to Islam at the preaching of Jesus, they didn't last very long. How do we know this? Well, we have no record of any first century followers of Jesus, or second century followers of Jesus, or third century followers of Jesus, or fourth or fifth century followers of Jesus who were Muslims, who believed what Muslims believe, who practice as Muslims believe. We have no record. So if they did exist, if you say, well, maybe they were all lost, maybe they all disappeared, something like that, fine, you can believe that if you want, but it's a simple fact that if they did exist, they disappeared rather quickly, because we don't have a shred of evidence anywhere that they ever existed. We have no records of them. So all I'm saying here is, if they did exist, we don't have any records, so they must have disappeared pretty quickly. Fact number 5. According to the Quran, Allah helped Jesus' followers gain the upper hand over the Jews. Allah helped Jesus' followers gain the upper hand over the Jews. Let's read in the Quran, Surah 61, verse 14. O you who believe, be helpers in the cause of Allah. As Jesus, son of Mary, said to his disciples, who are my helpers in the cause of Allah? The disciples said, we are helpers in the cause of Allah. So a party of the children of Israel believed, and another party disbelieved. Then we aided those who believed against their enemy, and they became uppermost. So, what this passage is saying, some of the Jews rejected Jesus, and some of the Jews believed in Jesus. These were his good Muslim followers. So certain Jews believed in Jesus, and Allah helped them and strengthened them until these followers of Jesus ultimately became more powerful than the Jews. So there shouldn't be any dispute here. The Quran teaches that Allah helped Jesus' true followers until they became more powerful than the Jews. No dispute here. Fact number 6. The only followers of Jesus who ever became more powerful than the Jews were Christians who believed in Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity. Let me read that again. The only followers of Jesus who ever became more powerful than the Jews were Christians who believed in Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity. What do I mean here? Well, if you say there were some first century Muslim followers of Jesus, they certainly never became more powerful than the Jews. We, again, don't even have any record that they existed. They couldn't have been very powerful. The only followers who actually became very powerful were Christians when Christianity took over the Roman Empire. That's when Christians became very powerful. But we know that the Christians who ultimately were part of the Roman Empire believed in Jesus' death, resurrection, and deity. They didn't believe in Islam. And just to give you some support here, this is Yusuf Ali's translation of the Quran. Yusuf Ali comments on Surah 61:14, where Allah says that he's going to help Jesus' followers until they become more powerful than the Jews. Let me read it to you. This is Yusuf Ali's commentary on 61:14. A portion of the children of Israel, the one that really cared for truth, believed in Jesus and followed his guidance. But the greater portion of them were hard-hearted and remained in their beaten track of formalism and false racial pride. The majority seemed at first to have the upper hand when they thought they had crucified Jesus and killed his message. But they were soon brought to their senses. Jerusalem was destroyed by Titus in AD 70, and the Jews have been scattered ever since.